Ever since I started documenting my journey in 2018 from Florida to New York City, I have been being hunted by the Department of Homeless Services and HRA, all for outsmarting them, which is ironically reminiscent to slaves being beat and or killed for reading any other book than the Bible. Government agencies study my social media, probably at this very moment, praying that I remain silent, in fear, and too ashamed to ever reveal the gravity of what's been done to me and is still being done to me. Never did Franklin Women's Shelter in the Bronx, Skyway Women's Shelter, Acacia Network, the Brooklyn Tillery, and New Horizon Women's Shelter staff think that I would ever break my silence. In 2018, after the Puerto Rico hurricanes, I was gentrified out of Florida to New York. I spent 2 days instead of the required 21 at the Franklin Women's Assessment Shelter before being expedited to Skyway Women's Shelter, who at the time was operating out of the Best Western Hotel off of Conduit and Rockaway Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens. As a former domestic abuse survivor, I was housed in a prostitution and crime-riddled community where I would often be followed back to the shelter by strange cars. In addition to next door, there being pedophiles and rapists at the Skyway Men's Shelter at the Holiday Inn Express. I was kicked out of Franklin's assessment shelter after refusing to sign documents with missing forms. Upon requesting the missing pages, they read that upon signing, I would be giving the United States military rights to my vital organs should I pass away in the shelter's care. Franklin Women's Shelter is also a former military base and armory. The military is behind the shelter system. So upon refusing to sign, I was quickly sent to Skyway Women's Shelter, not only in retaliation for non-compliance, but also to be mentally and emotionally tormented, broken, and eventually institutionalized as a result. All so that no one would listen to what I accidentally fucked around and found out. And that is that in shelter, you have no voice or human rights. In most instances, the police will not even intervene or save you. In shelter, you are state property, much like in prison. So what I'm saying is that you can be murdered. You can be unalived. I nearly was. And no matter the evidence, so long as the notes left in the system by your caseworker say that it was self-unaliving, case closed. Now you're unalive. And the military is free to clear your organs and possibly experiment on what remains of you. As Black Americans in New York City, we don't have the right to shelter. We have the right to detainment, detention, and institutionalization. While the Skyway Men's Shelter is still in operations, the Skyway Women's Shelter isn't. And it's almost as if it never existed or was solely concocted to abuse. Many staff members were going by aliases instead of their actual names. I recall program director Wynese Rogers saying, "No matter what happened to me, I would never be able to receive a transfer." And for years, she made good on that promise. Pay attention to these noises in the background, guys. This is always how it goes. Give me a moment. I can still recall catching her outside one day with disheveled hair, smeared lipstick, torn stockings, and her dress on backwards, on a side note. So, When I reported staff member Mr. Bentley for walking into my room unannounced on multiple occasions and even going as far as trying to enter a closed bathroom door where I was showering, and mentioned feeling violated and uncomfortable, Wynese laughed, saying that she would only temporarily transfer, in other words, protect him, and that he would soon return. Soon after, another male staff worker, Mr. King, simply entered my room one day and propositioned me for sex, saying that he did so since he couldn't get it from female staff. I turned him down and asked him to think about his job before he then turned around and invited me over to his place that night. I doubled down, double denied him. And from there, he never spoke to me again and treated the occurrence as if it never happened. You see, certain staff members knew that we weren't there to be housed or employed, but strictly exploited and abused.